Peggy 16.
They built the most lethal hardware. Heat suppression. Optical camouflage. Ballistic shields. Then they sold it to the highest bidder. The game has changed. Our brothers, our weapons, turned against us. Ghosts, phantoms, no matter what you fight for. In the heat of battle, you focus on your team, on your tactics. Because when the moment comes, you fight together, or you die alone.
Taking us out! Target located. Target marked. Copy that. Got a shot.
Target down. Clear. All clear.
Ghost Recon. Phantoms. Play now for free.
Greetings and welcome to my review of the Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, depending how you want to pronounce it, PvP shooter Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Phantoms. Now, this game has actually been around for approximately 2 years. It is a PC exclusive, and I'll get into that in a bit, but it is PC exclusive, and I have only been playing for approximately 3 months, maybe 2.5, depending on how you count, and I only became aware of it because of Steam advertisements. That is to say, I was completely unaware of the game until Steam showed it to me, and I downloaded it and started playing. What is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Phantoms? Well, of course, it is a branch of the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon series made by Ubisoft. It is a tactical PvP shooter, basically, and it involves, quite simply, teams of 8, at least in a public match, capturing different points. There are different kinds of point captures, but basically that's what it's about. And, shooting, of course, the enemy in the process. This, I should say, is the first shooter I've ever played in my life, and those of you who know me who are watching this, I'm middle-aged, I'm old. I've never played a shooter in my life before, and so I'm pretty much an average player. I have my my highlights, and I have or my good matches and my bad matches, but I'm a decent player. I tend to be a lot better in CQC than long range, but I'm working on that. So this is simply a review and an overview, if you will, of this game for people who are unaware of it. So they get an idea of what this game is about. So like I said, strategic PvP shooter. Graphics are very easy to handle. I play on a super shitty laptop, and it works more or less okay on it. So it's quite doable. And what differentiates this PvP shooter from others that I've observed, and I've never actually played them, for example, Call of Duty, one, it's PC exclusive, which is really nice. Which means you get to cut out a lot of the rabble that probably might end up playing this game, were it also infected with consolitis. Although I wouldn't be playing with the console people because, well, they would be on console, but still. And the fact that, in theory at least, I say in theory, this game is strategic in nature. There are 3 different classes in the game, and they have different devices, we call them devices, abilities, if you will, different weapon types, as well as different health stats, basically. You have the Assault class, which is the toughest. It's got the most HP, the most health. You have Recon, which is the sneaky class, least health, fastest movement, though. And then a middle class called Support or Specialist, depending on how you want to term it. And Support is in between in terms of health and has its own devices as well. What does Assault have? Assault uses assault rifles, of course. These are weapons usually with a small ammunition pool, but very precise, medium to bad recoil on a lot of the weapons for assault rifles, as well as shotguns. And these shotguns are actually shared with support in terms of the kinds of weapons that are accessible. And assault uses devices called Blitz, which involves basically taking a riot shield and knocking your enemies down, and heat, or ADS, which involves basically toasting or frying your enemy to death. It prevents enemy. It's a suppression device. It prevents enemy fire and damages them as well. On the opposite end of the scale, you have Recon, of course, kind of a sneaky class. They use scan, tactical scan, which allows the Recon as well as his teammates to see enemies through walls. They're highlighted in red. Very, very, very useful, although you don't see its use very much in public games these days for some reason. As well as Cloak. Cloak, as you can imagine, is become pseudo-invisible. You can still see the outline, and oftentimes you can find the movements. Pseudo-invisible, and go around and flank enemies and kill them. That kind of thing. That's Cloak. And Support, probably my favorite class, and the footage you're looking at now is me playing Support. That is, they have. Oh, and I didn't mention the weapons. So Recon uses submachine guns, that is, machine pistols and sniper rifles. Submachine guns tend to have super fast reload times, super fast ready times, which is the time between running and the ability to fire, which is a very important aspect of this game, and tend to be fairly accurate and not so great recoil. Pretty high recoil tend to have as well. Support tends to use this shotgun, shares these shotguns in terms of the kinds of shotguns available with the assault class, and uses light machine guns. Light machine guns tend to have a long reload time, long ready time, but a large ammo pool. Most of them have 100 shots per clip. Pretty good stability, that is low recoil, and overall pretty good accuracy, although usually not on par with assault rifles accuracy.
Not much.
Support uses APS, which is a tactical bubble, if you will, that deflects enemy fire bullets, but not grenades, only bullets, as well as a device called Blackout, which is essentially an EMP, which disables enemy devices as well as stuns enemies. So there are the classes. The footage you'll be seeing here, well, that's pretty much only of Support and Assault. I don't play any Recon here. I don't play Recon that often, but I try to play mostly one or two classes to get better. Now, so I explained the basics of how the game works. So you use your devices against the enemies, you shoot them, so on and so forth. There are other things, of course. There are, grenades. There are different levels of armor and different levels of weapons, and I'll get to that in a bit, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, your team works to capture a point versus an enemy team, and the more points you capture, the better. And if you capture more points than the enemy, you win the match. Which is interesting because you can have a super high kill count, a super high KD, that is kill to death ratio. At the same time, your team can lose, meaning that capturing points really is important. People often forget this, and this is going to be something very, very important to talk about in terms of the team-related gameplay, which is surprisingly absent in most games when you play Ghost Recon Online. Phantoms, it used to be called Ghost Recon Online. So that's the game in a nutshell. Like I said, what initially attracted me to the game was the team-oriented tactical shooter aspect. However, as much as I like this game, the biggest flaw of this game, apart from server issues and occasional bugs, I mean, it's Ubisoft, what do you expect, is the lack of team gameplay. Even though it's a PC exclusive, I mean, it's not infected with consolitis. A lot of people play this game as they would Call of Duty, COB or COD for most people. A lot of people have Counter-Strike experience, also different from that game. Although having shooter experience will help you with this game, most certainly. But there's a definitive lack of team play. People just tend to run in and do their own thing, which kind of defeats the purpose. I'm not going to give an exact percentage, I don't know, but oftentimes I'd say 1 in 30, 1 in 40 games you'll have legitimate team play. people utilizing devices at the same time, working strategically, calling out enemies, telling you where enemies are located, and so on and so forth. That is essential for good gameplay. You can be a wonderful marksman, and I'm certainly not the best. You can be great at CQC. I'm pretty good at CQC. But if you don't have a team that's working with you, I mean, you cannot be a one-man army in this game. Well, maybe a few people can. I can't. The top 3 players maybe. But so you need team play to really do well. And it's also a lot more satisfying when the team works together. That said, I play on the European server. Now, the European server is different from the NA, the North American server. We lack a common language, and I am far from a language or linguistic imperialist here. I'm not a language imperialist, but you get into a game and you have 2 people speaking Polish to each other, some other people speaking Spanish, some other people speaking Turkish, some other people speaking German, and it's a big mess. It's a communicative mess. And it disallows, well, it certainly doesn't allow for proper communication during the game. And this prevents, I think, is the biggest obstacle to team play. I mean, I think in a similar light to aviation, this game should probably use English, and this is not me as an Anglophone saying you must use English, but probably should use English to communicate, just to point out the basics, and sometimes you get that. I played a match earlier today, and we had, no one was a native speaker, perhaps except for myself, but everyone was pointing things out in English, enemy on the left, up the stairs, in the window, fire in the hole. You don't hear that often, but things like that. By the way, you can nade your own teammates. You'll see it in some of the video footage. My own teammate nades me twice. So you have friendly fire in the form of grenades, and so on. So this is really important, and it makes communication so difficult in the European servers because everyone is speaking a different language. I think English, basic English, just pointing out things would be very useful, just because you have more of a chance that more people understand that. Polish seems to be, for the most part, the international language on this. Everyone seems to speak Polish. I don't, but a lot of Polish people, a fair amount of French people, a lot of Germans. But yeah, communication, I suspect, is a lot better on the NA servers because they all share one language. And I've also heard that gameplay tends to be more cooperative on the NA servers than the European servers. So basically, when you're in a public match and you're not playing with a full clan, I'll get into clans in a second, you're really at the mercy of whoever you get, and oftentimes, more often than not, the communication is just dreadful, awful. I'll give you a good example of this. I mean, in certain maps, because communication is so bad, you can use this to your advantage. The enemy team is not going to inform their teammates that there's an enemy, going to flank them. That's often me. And I'll run up and just shotgun everyone because even the guy in the back that I killed doesn't say, enemy shotgunner running to your flank trying to kill you. He just silent. He doesn't say anything. So you just end up killing 4 or 5 of them in a row and you're happy. So it has its advantages as well. But I wish the protocol would entail more communication. Unfortunately, it's very lacking in this game. And it really takes away from what I think is the most attractive and interesting aspect of this PvP shooter, the tactical aspect, using devices together, pushing with devices jointly. One guy uses his APS, that is his bubble, someone else uses ADS, heat, so on and so forth. Those are the kinds of combos that they were meant to be used in, but you don't see that very often. The other thing is when you make a push, what we call a push, a device push in this game, you often have no one covering you or coming with you. Even if you tell them to come with you and say, I'm using device X, please come with me, I'm going to push on the left, they'll just ignore you. They don't want to die, they want to keep their kill count. I have no idea why that's the way it is. But in a public game, the chances that someone actually pushes with your device, well, they're slim to none, unless you tell them, and even then they don't often come with you. So enter clans. You can create a clan, you can join a clan in this game, and then, if you so choose, you can fight in clan wars. I was a member of a relatively inactive clan for a while. I sort of made my own clan, but there are only 2 people in it, so I'm basically a Ronin. I'm a clan. I have a clan, but I'm basically clanless. But having a good clan can be very helpful, especially if they're on frequently and play often, because They can you can coordinate things with them. You can actually use teamwork, which is certainly the most satisfying aspect of the game, rather than trying to lone wolf it and just be run and gun, which is, you know, unfortunately the reality in most games. It just involves, you know, shooting people and not really timing things. And so the worst aspect of this game is, in effect, simultaneously its strength. It's the team tactical play, which is so absent in the vast majority of games, at least on European servers. I can count on maybe two hands of dozens and dozens of games I've played, the amount of actual tactical coordinated gameplay I've been involved in, as much as, and I would be willing to do it every time. I'd be up for it every time, but you almost never see it. So what are you going to do? You just have to accept it. I mean, you roll your eyes and you accept it. The lack of communication, you know, because of the language barriers, there's an assumption that, you know, everyone speaks Turkish. They'll announce things in Turkish. No one understands, or Polish, or Romanian, or whatever. It's just bizarre. But that's not Ubisoft's fault. That's an entirely different issue. So, you know, that. But I want to talk about some other aspects of the game. So what does it take to be good at this game? Well, I think in descending order, you need the following things. The most important thing in this game, as is the case, I've been told at least, in most PvP shooters, is your ping latency. If you have really low ping and latency, you're going to have a huge advantage. I have tremendously variable ping. My ping sometimes goes from 20 to 5,000, and it is very variable, so I have very unreliable ping, and I have some matches that are just a disaster because of that. So having a good internet connection basically is super, super important to do well in this game. And mind you, if you DC, you will lose ranks in this game. If you DC, you're penalized for that. If you leave intentionally, you're penalized. But also if you have an internet-related DC, or if your game crashes to desktop, you will be penalized in ranking, your Athena ranking, which is supposedly the determinant of your skill, overall skill, which is neither here nor there. What is the second most important thing? Well, I actually think hardware is. I play on a shitty laptop. If you have really good hardware, a good mouse, a good system that can run it at a high frame rate, you're going to do a lot better. So the two most important things are actually hardware and internet connection related. Then skill. You know, if you're a total fuck up, you're not going to get very far. So obviously you need to practice. Now, me being middle-aged, being old, you know, it's hard. I mean, I'm not, especially not that great at long range. I'm quite good at CQC. That's because I know the only advantage I have is, you know, for perhaps my cunning and my ability to think ahead in a way that a lot of people wouldn't, maybe just because I'm older and have more experience just in general in life. But that said, yeah, I mean, there are different kinds of skill sets. Really good players are consistent in both CQC and long range. I'm not consistent in both, so I couldn't call myself that. And finally, your equipment. Your equipment is quite important. I do place it at the very bottom, though, behind all those three things. That is ping, latency, hardware, skill, and then you have your equipment. The raging debate that goes on in this game almost every day is Ghost Recon Phantoms Online, Ghost Recon Phantoms a pay-to-win game? Well, I guess it depends on how you define pay-to-win. Have I invested money in this game? Yes, I have. Is equipment important? Yes. So probably it would help you if you invested money in this game. You don't have to. In fact, I play with a very, very good player who hasn't spent a dime or a penny or a euro penny on this. But he is an exceptionally good player. The other top players that people are at least aware of, guys like Mick or Tekamin and all these other guys, you might know them if you play on European servers, they all have spent money. They're still amazing players, but they've spent money. But is this game pay to win? Well, not really. Like I said, in my personal assessment and opinion observation, the three things I mentioned above prior, ping latency, hardware, and player skill are more important than the money you invest. However, certainly if you invest a decent amount of money, you can buy good armor, good weapons, which will give you a tactical advantage in one-on-one straightforward combat in some cases. If you can't shoot, they're not going to help you at all. There are plenty of high-tier weapons that have a lot of recoil, and if you can't handle recoil, they're not going to help you very much, for example, and so on and so forth. So really, that's why I place the whole investment of money in the fourth category as opposed to the first, the second, or the third.
I think you can also shoot
Now,
from there as well.
Because of the competitive nature of the game, yes, a lot of people spend money. I don't think it's purely pay to win. I think it's pay to help. I put it that way, pay to help. Ubisoft could make a lot more money if they lowered the prices because more people would invest, but they don't do that. And I also think it's unreasonable to ask a company to not make money. If people are willing to spend the money, well, they're willing to spend the money. You can't ask a company not to make money. That's why companies exist. It's the only reason any company exists, to make money. So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. I mean, is it fair that some people spend money and others don't? Well, not really, but what's fair in life? Is it fair that some people are naturally better at shooters than others? Well, that's not fair either. Is it fair that some people have better pings than others? No. I mean, I play with a friend from Australia who's, I think, very, very good, but he's constantly got a red dot, red line ping. He cannot CQC. He's got half-second delays, and it affects his gameplay. Is that fair? Well, no, but it's part of the game, and he makes do with that. So, is Ghost Recon Phantoms pay to win? No, it's pay to help. And I think Ubisoft could do a lot by lowering the prices of the game. So more people could buy equipment. They'd make more money that way. Now, you don't just have to spend real-life money. You can build up through matches your own, what they call Athena credits, and then you can purchase weapons that way. It just takes a lot longer. So you can spend real money. You can combine it. You can not ever pay. A lot of people do that, and they just buy whatever they can afford with the Athena credits they've earned from matches. These are all options available, and different people take different options. But it's not pay to win. It is pay to help, I think, and the other factors are more important than the financial investment you make. Although pay to win is a slur you'll see when people are trying to diss you or whatever, to insult you. I mean, there are a lot of these insults, but the weapons will not, at the end of the day, be the prime, or the armor for that. Well, armor may be more so, but the equipment will not be the primary factor in determining whether you do well. It's going to be the first three things that I mentioned. They're much more important than, I think, the last pain for equipment. I've seen it myself. I've seen people do exceptionally well without paying anything. I've seen people pay a lot do exceptionally well, and I've seen people pay a lot not do well, and so on and so forth. You see it across the spectrum, across the board, so there you have it. Would I recommend this game to people, newcomers? Well, if you have shooter experience, I think you'll do pretty well. If you have a background in Counter-Strike, and I've never played, well, actually I played a couple of matches, but I mostly watch a couple of Counter-Strike games, you'll do pretty well. It's not like Call of Duty. You can't run around and just run and gun. I mean, you can try, but it doesn't lend itself to that. They are introducing a lot of changes to the nature of that, though. They're going to be improving weapon ready time, reload times, so it's going to be a lot more run and gun, I think, once those changes have been put into place. But it's a very different feel, and it runs on almost every system. It's PC exclusive, which is nice. There are so few titles that are PC exclusive these days. So would I recommend it? Sure, it's free to play. If you want to spend money, if you get into it, good for you. I did. I have no shame in saying that. I spent money on this game. And if you don't, if you just want to, earn your Athena credits the hard way, you can do that too. Either way, ultimately, your latency / ping, your hardware, and your skill are going to be the most important factors. And of course, with skill, the younger you are, the better. If you're an old man like me, well, you might have a bit of trouble, but you can do your best. So would I recommend this game to people who are interested? Certainly. Considering the fact that I've never played a shooter before, and I like playing this game. I usually play a couple of matches every day, a few at least. Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. I think it's well done. Could there be improvements? Yeah, I mean, servers could be improved. Matchmaking could be improved. We need more maps. There are not enough maps, and yeah, like I said, some maps are just not very good. I mean, I talked about capturing points. Some maps are just fighting just where one control one point. There are maps called conquest maps, which are multiple points, and yeah, so there are different kinds of maps. But some of the maps are pretty lacking. So Ubisoft could be making more maps and investing more resources in the game. After all, they're making all that money. But I still would recommend the game. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It can be frustrating sometimes, like I said. If you like communication, if you like team-oriented gameplay, potentially this game could be for you, but it's ruined by the player base. The player base, people who are very good in terms of physical ability. They're good shooters. They're skilled at shooting things. No communication, no warning. It really ruins the game. You get used to it, though. I mean, you get used to people not pushing with you and use devices. You get used to having no scan from recons. You get used to all of these things, and when it does happen, it's amazing. It's a great thing. So my recommendation, I'm not going to give it I'm not going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, but I'd give it definitely multiple thumbs up. It's an enjoyable game, and I would recommend it to people, especially if you've never played a shooter before or you're interested in getting into shooters. This might be a game to get into because that's how I got into this particular shooter, and I'm going to stick with it for quite some time to come, I think. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Hope that there was a nice little summary, or not so little. And you can just check out the rest of the game footage. I'll let it run and enjoy the rest of your day. Everyone take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Well, it is, as long as we have me.
Oh fuck! Yeah, the guy.
Dang it!
Or across the side.
Guys, step on point. Don't let them get the overtime.
Losing Alpha.
Do it.
Overtime.
They're kind of hating.
Thanks for helping me. Not.
Yeah.
Well, the round's over. We won the round. Definitely over. Yes! The second I was With 10 points.
Securing Alpha. Alpha secured.
Fuck in the middle. Bubble,
Yeah,
bubble
yeah.
coming in the middle. Bubble in the middle.
Good.
And the other one?
One more, right behind you, Shabal. 3 of them rushed you, I think.
I
Yeah.
got too many friends tonight. Ah, come on, really?
Alpha lost.
Yeah, I did. I was on the right hand side though, and I needed to push there.
I got him.
Good.
Yes, he jumped down. If it was
A
the
right-hand
Devil's
side.
Corp,
He needs backup.
Securing Alpha. Losing Alpha.
the 1 point, guys.
Wow. They are not fucking around.
Device ready.
Wait, I've got my bubble ready in a few seconds.
Alpha secured. Heavy casualties inflicted.
Behind, our tower, up. Bombs da hinter dir.
Comes behind you.
Help me, Recon.
Oh, I jumped straight into the water. Fuck.
One guy's tunnels.
Losing Alpha.
God damn it.
Ja, we all died, man.
Yeah, I fucked up and jumped into the water.
Go the point, last team.
I'll push right with ADS.
Alright.
Alpha lost. Securing Alpha. Heavy casualties inflicted.
Oh, I had to reload. That was brilliant. He's on 4 health, Shiva.
Shibal, it annoys you. Who?
One guy's tunnels. Two guys tunnels.
Yeah. Guys, die on point. Was hast du leave the round? Achso, okay. Also, für die meisten ist es bestimmt an wie leave the round.
Losing Alpha.
Fuck.
Securing Alpha.
No. Save it for their attack, because the time's running out and then they will play out all their cards they have left.
Two
I will
blitz
activate it
and
now, we
tunnels.
can activate it. Activate
Blitz,
these, man.
blitz on the right, blitz on the right, blitz on the right.
Next to 3 guys
On the right,
and
on the right, on the right,
tunnels.
man. I told you.